All right, so did Husker fans get the football pulled out from under them, Charlie Brown style, with Kyle McCord? Yes. And that's not great. And Gary, I'm trying to walk a very fine line here because my brain is telling me one thing, and I don't want to be thinking that things are happening when in reality I just want them to happen. But two things are leading me into thinking that Dylan Raiola is really going to commit to Nebraska this time. Kyle McCord doing a complete U-turn when almost every expert had him favored to go to Nebraska. But then the timing of also Daniel Kaelin reopening his recruitment, now taking a trip to Michigan State, and those couple of things combined at the same time have me feeling like those guys must have known that Dylan Raiola is really going to the Huskers, and the fact that he's a real deal prospect scared them away because they didn't want to have to compete with them. That would also require Dylan to be probably taking a hardline stance of, I want to play right away. This is why I'm leaving Georgia. But hit that like button for us and tell us what you guys think is going on, as it really seems like the Huskers have all of their eggs now in the Dylan Raiola basket.
Yeah, it's at a point right now at this stage of recruiting and the transfer portal where you better have some kind of confirmation that Raiola's 100% in, because letting McCord walk, I've apparently taken a 5-star receiver with him. Kaelin, who was your kind of next up as far as who you're going to groom and develop over the long haul, looks like he's looking in different directions. He hasn't officially said anything yet. I know there was some pictures of him working out with Bullock and things like that, but I hope you're right. I hope, and I do trust that Rule knows what he's doing as far, obviously he knows what he's doing, but I mean that he has the confirmation and these decisions are being made knowing he has the quarterback of the future lined up. I don't agree with the whole Raiola, I want to start and I want to start now thing, and then just telling him yes to get him here. I mean, there's going to be concerns about him leaving. He's spurned Nebraska twice, so to speak, and I don't mean with ill intentions or anything like that, but the hopes and some of the projections, and this goes back to like the last video we did that we got out literally hours before they said McCord wasn't coming. I don't know that you can trust that, right? These guys, all these so-called experts, have their crystal ball deals or whatever the hell they call them. 100% McCord's coming. A lot of people are already tagging Fleming along with him, and within a few hours of us kind of discussing it and talking about it, no, never mind, he's not going. So I don't really fault them. They're reporting what they hear, and then it's kind of like when we do these types of videos, we're basing off the information we're getting from guys like that. But it's like the star rating I'm always harping on. You know, they rate these guys on who knows what scale. Their stars can go up if certain schools recruit them, but they don't have stars, or they drop if only certain schools are recruiting them. Some guys are playing 8-man football. Some are playing in parts of the country where high school football is as big of a deal as, you know, college football is in a lot of places. And it's just a huge guessing game, in my opinion. And then we've seen it time and time again where these high-end recruits don't pan out. Walk-ons or 3 stars or whatever end up going pro. And you're going to get that. You know, no one's going to bat 1,000 on it. But it's just, I don't put a lot into these projections or these so-called experts or whatever. You know, I feel like a lot of them are experts because they get to write articles and they talk to some people. But the reality for Nebraska in the quarterback situation is that was the one glaring issue you had going into the offseason. You could argue that if they just rolled with what they have on staff and what they're bringing in at recruiting in every other position, they'd be fine. But something had to be added to that quarterback room. And I don't know that relying on a true freshman is the answer, but having that, getting him in, especially if you can somehow convince him to not peek around every offseason in the portal, or if it is a competition thing. I don't know anything about him. I'm not, you know, casting aspersions by any stretch, but I'm just saying when we look at how it looked like we were going to get him from before Ohio State did, Ohio State had him locked up. Then we were going to get him, and then Georgia did. Georgia had him locked up, and now we're going to get him. It's just this whole thing to me is like shit or get off the pot type of deal. You know, like if he really wanted to be here and it just didn't seem, or he kind of was on the fence if it was going to be the right fit or not, and watching the season play out, seeing some of the guys come in kind of has him to where, okay, yeah, even if I sit out a year, if I can't play and they can develop another year before I go in, things are a right fit. That's where I always wanted to go. Now's the time. Great. I get it. But I don't know that, so I'm going to have this kind of hesitancy to get too excited until, one, I see him on campus, 2, I see him play and know that he's going to live up to that 5-star deal, and we put all of our eggs in one basket for the right hype and right reason. And 3, for a season or 2 to go by where there's not even discussion of him going into the portal, different ejections or whatever you want to call it, or talks about it. So again, you asked the other day, we did the video about me like pouring cold water on it or whatever. And it's like, no, man, I just try to look at these things where, a week and a half ago, we had no clue who we were going to get. We were going to scour the portal, try to grab somebody. Then all of a sudden we're getting McCord. Then all of a sudden we're getting McCord and a receiver. Then we're getting those two plus Raiola back. And now here we are less than 24 hours later, and everybody's hoping and praying you're at least getting Dylan Raiola out of the deal, which, don't get me wrong, great pickup if you can get him. As far as Kaelin goes, if he's done a lot of the Elite 11 things and stuff like that with Raiola, and I don't know, man, if it's a lack of willingness to compete, if it's I'm just going to peek around because I don't know exactly what's going to happen, if it's I know this kid's better than me and I can't compete with him, whatever any of those things are, then I hate to say it because I was really kind of excited about him, then go. We don't need guys that are shying away from competition, including Raiola, if that's been an issue of why he wasn't going to come. So, I mean, I think quarterback room wise, you're losing Jeff Sims, which I know a lot of people are like, good, who cares? But I'm saying strictly from a depth perception. Looks like he's definitely going to Michigan State to visit, and all signs are pointing towards him going there. But again, take those with a grain of salt. You kind of have pretty bare cupboards now in that quarterback room that already wasn't very talented, at least for what we need them to do. So I still think even if you're getting Raiola, you've got to try to get a portal guy that's a 1 or 2 year guy. If Kaelin leaves, I don't know what you do as far as what you look for. And I know a lot of people are panicking, and I agree. The clock's ticking now, right? You're up against a timeline where guys are starting to fall in line with the schools they're going to go to. You've got signing day next Wednesday. There's not going to be a whole lot to pick from if this drags out much longer, which, looking at the previous 2 commitments from Raiola, there's no reason to believe it's not going to drag out too long. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If he comes and you need maybe a guy, what are you going to do if he doesn't come and you've got to hurry up and in full panic mode try to build up a quarterback room so that if you go through 3 injuries again this year, you're not asking guys that are walk-ons that haven't had much of any meaningful reps or snaps with anything to come in the middle of the season. And next year's going to be a tougher season. So it's a super long-winded way of just saying, yes, it's great if he's coming. He better be coming as far as the coaching staff's concerned, because if not, you're in a real world of trouble. And I know people are going down the list of the portal guys, the portal quarterbacks. He's going here, he's going here, he's going here. If you would have read that list to me yesterday, McCord was coming here, right? So all those things are still going to shuffle a little bit. Again, don't put too much into those. But for Nebraska's sake, and of course, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, I hope they know he's 100% coming, zero doubt. And I hope that he announces or has announced at least to them, and they can take the next step for whether it be backups, filling out the room the rest of the way, a guy to come in for the first year, at least the first few games of the first season until Raiola's really got a good feel for things. If he is, like Scott Frost was with Martinez, So I hope behind the scenes, all the ducks are in a row. And I do trust Rule and the staff that they are. It's just when you follow just the media and you're scrolling through Twitter and watching people like us on YouTube and stuff, you've got this, oh, the sky's falling, we got to get a quarterback. Oh, we're getting a quarterback. Oh, we're getting all these guys. And then it goes back down and you start riding that wave. I don't think the coaching staff's doing that. I pray they're not doing that. We're in way worse hands than any of us thought if that is the case. But it would just be nice to know that all else fails, you've got this one guy that a lot of people think is going to change programs the second he gets on campus. And the other side of it is recruiting. You still have a week to turn some commits. There's a lot of guys that came on that visit last summer curious of what Raiola was going to do, and a lot of people were going to try to go with him, or were curious if the school he picked was going to be something in one of their top schools. Maybe you can still pull a Brandon Baker type or something like that. I'm just using him as an example, but maybe you can pull a big offensive lineman. Maybe you can pull a big running back or skill player from somewhere, and it can do a lot more for the program, like we talked some of the other Raiola videos we've done, than just him and his playing ability. Obviously that's what you want the most, but worst case he does come and leaves, maybe he at least brings you some more 4 and 5 star guys because guys want to play with him and they do like it here. Their NIL is good, and I think they're going to do what they got to do NIL wise to keep him happy. But it's just kind of like we talked in the McCord video. There's a lot to be excited about, but there's also a lot of questions and a lot of kind of pump your brakes and see what happens before you get too excited, in my opinion.
I 100% agree with the notion that for the sake of these coaches, they better know he's coming. Because to lose what we've lost out on and to have him not end up coming to Nebraska, it would be catastrophic. And we might really be looking for the fresh new hair waves of Casey Thompson to come back, like some people are thinking on Twitter is actually going to happen. Tell us what you guys think in the comments. We'll see you soon with another update. Till then, go Big Red.